What an interesting report coming out from the Athletic. Oh, got a couple buddies at the Athletic, and I was talking with them saying that one of the reasons why I fell in love with the Athletic several years ago was due to the fact that they did really good basketball coverage, and they've gone back to that. So I want to shout out, I believe this is Fred Katz, Fred Katz, I think, who did this one. Link should be in the description. If not, I will put it there. Either way, they wrote a great piece talking about how this unorthodox style of training has resulted in the player that Shai is today. And I thought that was a cool story. As someone who plays every single day, I'm like, right now I had stress reactions in both my legs and post-tibial tendonitis in both legs since I started in the summer. I'm right now in my 6th week of rehab. So I understand training and getting through all of that. As someone who's 25 years old and just got a Nick Nurse DVD and learned how to shoot 3-pointers at a really, really high clip now, that made me kind of addicted to basketball. So this has led to me playing 2 to 5 hours a day as much as I can. Obviously, I've had to scale that back as of my injury. I can understand the pleasure, the gamemanship that comes in finding different ways to gain an edge, different ways to train. As I'm 6'1". I wanted to always be Chuck Hayes, Dennis Rodman. And I went to University of Kansas. Now I'm doing my PhD at Miami. And Kansas, we had a really good basketball culture. And I was able to play with a lot of guys that I just ended up being the role man, just playing big. So I had a really good inside game. And then when I went here to Miami, a lot of one-on-one. And I didn't I'd have to play different. I had to create for myself. So I started shooting and I realized how easy it was to shoot a 3-pointer. And once you learned the mechanics, and I had a buddy who played D1, teach me how to step in his shot. So when I was reading this article, I was like, guys, this is a great story for you guys, because this is something that I always try to stress to people, that basketball is one of the easiest sports to learn how to play. It is all muscle memory. And it is just repetition. I've interviewed Lethal Shooter. I've interviewed who else could be considered? James Harden. I could say tons of guys that we've spoken to, and one of the things you realize is just muscle memory and just going into your style of play. So that's just kind of something I've really gone into, is just, wow, I'm a really good shooter, so that's just something you got to do in your training. And I think the way we're segueing this into Shai, who's ascended back-to-back years now as an MVP favorite, hopefully will do it. And he's at a historic level of production. He has this methodical style play. His evolution into arguably the most efficient and unguardable player outside of Nikola Jokic allegedly traces back to an unorthodox training method instilled by his former coach, Dwayne Washington. Washington, who had a basketball background, but also a background in science, emphasized the importance of acceleration and deceleration as a means of creating space rather than solely relying on speed. This unique approach was the foundation for SGA's ability to control defenders and dictate the tempo of the game, like a chess match. SGA's ability to vary speeds is a key reason why he's so dominant on the offensive end of the ball. His strategic use of acceleration and deceleration, similar to a car changing gears, forces defenders into uncomfortable positions, allowing him to create separation without relying on explosive athleticism. According to advanced stats this year, almost 33 points and 52.5% shooting from the field. Insane. His shot selection is one of the more interesting things. 64.4% of his shots are inside 10 feet. That level of, determination to get to the basket, maneuver through the defenses, and penetrate is something that goes beyond just the ability of scoring. His presence on the court makes him a defensive focus. He draws double teams. He opens up opportunities for his teammates. He has a 29% assist rate. His ability to read defense, the court, and have the vision to make the right play shows his ability to be a true playmaker, not just for himself, but for others. Averaging 2.5 steals a game also, which is just the entry-level barometer for defensive stats, if you don't want to do the eye test, shows it. Let's break down his shot creation. When taking 0 dribbles, he shoots 60%, indicating that this is a guy who can score hyper efficient from catch and shoot. Now, the game he plays, largely predicated on self-creation, 3 to 6 dribbles are where majority of his shots come from. 38.4% frequency, 49.7% field goal percentage. Now, shots that have 7+ dribbles, 40.5% frequency, which arguably is his second most common shot outside the catch and shoots, at 53.2. That means this guy is basically dribbling over 3 times in a possession, sometimes even more, 7, and thriving in isolation pick and rolls where he's able to use his ability to change speeds, manipulate defenders, and deceive them, despite having this high on-ball usage and using the ability to control the pace and maintain composure. His tempo, that Dwayne Washington, who helped him using these breathing techniques to allow him to keep his heart rate low in high pressure situations, helps him be particularly devastating because he'll dribble, penetrate, attack the paint, get to the rim, as he leads the league in paint touches per game for a guard. He converts 58.2% of his 2-point shots, which that's what centers do. That's uncanny. Uncanny. He also draws 9 free throw a game, which basically is like 4 or 5 fouls. So footwork, touch around the rim, all things that are unheard of for a player who's a guard. And he converts 59% of his shots when he has tight defense, 2 to 4 feet from the defender, showing that regardless if the defender's in his face or if he's given open space, which is like 4 to 6 feet, he hits 48.4%. Dude, he shoots better when someone's defending him. His patience and ability to manipulate angles also translates to perimeter shooting. When left open, wide open, 6+ feet from a defender, he shoots 42.9%, which means he shoots better defended than he does wide open. And he's able to shoot 37% when there's 4 seconds left on the shot clock. Again, going back to that calmness and approach. I can't even, like, all these clutch performance numbers are also insane, where he has an offensive rating of 122.2. His true shooting and clutch performances are 64.4%. He shoots 42% when there's 7 to 4 seconds left in late clock situations, and 37% in 4 to 0 second scenarios. And also, he's shooting above 50% in the final 5 minutes of close games. That's wild. His and one rate is also the highest in the league for non-big man. Can we talk about how ridiculous that is? Like, I don't know what else we need to talk. Like, Jokic is awesome and he's doing stuff we haven't seen in forever, but the stuff that Shai's doing, it's kind of freaking crazy. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comments section. And do you guys agree with me or not? Bye. That's it. I'm gonna go. If you made it to the end, hit that like and subscribe button. It means a ton. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. Ciao.